Welcome to Common Day News. Here are the headlines.
Truck blows into Christmas market in Berlin, killing 9.
Korean army focusing on last electric rebels.
Massive fireworks market blast kills at least 29 in Mexico.
Finally, Russian ambassador to Turkey, Andrei Karlov, assassinated in Ankara. All and more in this episode of Common Day News. Good day and welcome to Common Day News. Now, here are the news.
Our top story for today is truck blows into Christmas market in Berlin, killing 9.
The truck blew into a Christmas market in Berlin on Monday, killing at least 9 people and injuring dozens of others in what German authorities are treating as a possible terror attack.
Officials said the co-driver died at the scene while a suspect, possibly the driver, was taken into custody nearby.
President-elect Donald Trump, who is vacationing in his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida, issued a statement on the Berlin attack.
Our hearts and prayers are with the loved ones of the victims of today's horrifying terror attack in Berlin. Innocent civilians were murdered in the streets as they prepared to celebrate the Christmas holiday. ISIS and other Islamist terrorists continually slaughter Christians in their communities and places of worship as part of their global jihad. These terrorists and their regional and worldwide networks must be eradicated from the face of the earth, a mission we will carry out with all freedom-loving partners.
Stefan Seibert, spokesperson for German Chancellor Angela Merkel, issued a statement expressing her grief over the attack in Berlin.
The Chancellor is in permanent contact with German Secretary of State for Internal Affairs and the Berlin mayor, Seibert said.
We are in deep grief over the dead and hope the injured can be saved.
Korean army focusing on last electric rebels.
As President Bashar al-Assad's army closed in on the last rebel enclave in Aleppo Thursday, Russia, Iran and Turkey said they were ready to help broker a Syrian peace deal.
The Syrian army used loudspeakers to broadcast warnings to insurgents that it was forced to enter the rapidly diminishing area during the day and told them to speed up the evacuation of the city.
Complete control of Aleppo will be a major victory for Assad against rebels who have defied him in Syria's most populous city for 4 years.
Ministers from Russia, Iran and Turkey adopted a document they called the Moscow Declaration, which set out the principles that any disagreement should follow.
At talks in the Russian capital, he also backed an expanded ceasefire in Syria.
Iran, Russia and Turkey are ready to facilitate the drafting of an agreement which has already been negotiated between the Syrian government and the opposition and to become its baker, the declaration said.
Massive fireworks market blast kills at least 29 in Mexico.
A powerful chain reaction explosion ripped in Mexico's national fireworks market on the northern outskirts of the capital Thursday, killing at least 29 people, injuring Moscow's mayor and sending a huge plume of charcoal gray smoke billowing into the sky.
Video of the blast showed the dramatic staccato of rockets exploding in flashes of light, leveling the open-air South San Pablito market in Tutoltec in Mexico State as it bustled with shoppers stocking up on fireworks to celebrate Christmas and New Year.
Wonder stands for just the piles of rubble, ash, and charred metal. It is the third devastating explosion in fire to vanish a market soon surviving life, and officials still have not said what caused this latest blast.
Presidential Francisco Garcia said she was in the middle of a grid of stalls along with a few hundred others when the thunderous explosions began.
She froze, reflexively looking up at the sky and then took off running through the smoke once she realized everyone was doing so. As she ran, she saw people with broken parts and lots of blood.
Everything was catching fire. Everything was exploding. Francisco said the stones were flying, pieces of brick, everything was flying.
Russian ambassador to Turkey, Andrei Karlov, assassinated in Ankara.
The Russian ambassador to Ankara was shot dead in an attack at an art gallery in the Turkish capital on Monday by gunmen shouting, "Don't forget Aleppo."
A Russian foreign ministry spokeswoman confirmed the death of envoy Andrei Karlov, which marked one of the most serious spillovers of the Syrian conflict into Turkey.
Russia is a close ally of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, and his airstrikes were instrumental in helping Syrian forces end rebel resistance last week in the northern city of Aleppo.
The another news agency said the gunmen had been neutralized soon after
the weather with Ginger.
Hey guys, it's Ginger and here's the weather for today. We are a city area expecting cold weather in the deep freeze of the all over the country. If you are in Dublin City, brace for heavy snow until Christmas Eve. Average temperature will be between -5 degrees centigrade. So you better stay at home, take grab a hot car, mug of coffee or chocolate, whichever you choose. However, on north and west of Czechia, there's still be a high risk of a strong blizzard any sooner than the average temperature will be -8 degrees centigrade. For the east region, a considerably hotter temperature of -6 degrees centigrade will still be very cold indeed. And for Sharda City, a airplane next station there because the average temperature is 3 degrees centigrade. Still cold, but hotter than the rest. The south of this Sharda City will last long into the holidays. And today's winter solstice for the northern hemisphere is a good Cynthia. If you're in the southern hemisphere, then you're in summer solstice. This is Ginger the Lady Weather, signing off. And that brings us to another episode of Tom and Ben News. So, this is Tom.
And Ben, and this is Tom and Ben News. Good day.
Tonight at 6, NATO joins 20 countries have expelled Russian diplomats in response to a nerve-aged attack in the UK. The International Security Organization has expelled 7 envoys and has told to Russia that there are costs and consequences for its behavior.
Also tonight, thousands of people have protested in the Siberian city of Kemerovo in the wake of a leisure complex fire, blaming Russian officials.
There has been confirmation that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has visited China after days of speculation following rumors by local media.
The 2020 US census has been marred by controversy over a new question asking respondents whether or not they are US citizens.
And in sports, a late Italy penalty awarded by the video assistant referee at Wembley keeps England short the final game before announcing the provisional World Cup squad. Welcome to the Entatement News at 6. NATO is expelling 7 Russian diplomats in response to a nerve-aged attack in the UK.
The International Security Organization's chief said the move would send a message to Russia that there are costs and consequences for its behavior.
26 countries have expelled Russian envoys in the past few days in solidarity with the UK.
They all believe Russia was behind the poisoning of 2 people in Salisbury, in which it denied any involvement.
Russian ex-spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia were poisoned on the 4th of March in the southern English city, and investigations say a military-grade nerve agent was used.
Speaking in Brussels, NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg said he would also deny pending accreditation for 3 Russian staff and would reduce the size of Russia's mission from 30 to 20.
Now to other news. Thousands of people have protested in the Siberian city of Kemerovo, and with Russian officials other news, thousands of people have protested in the Siberian city of Kemerovo and with Russian officials over the leisure complex fire that killed at least 64 people, 31 of them children.
President Vladimir Putin had arrived in Kemerovo and blamed criminal negligence for Sunday's blaze. Relatives say dozens of people, including children, are still missing.
Investigators say the fire alarm was switched off and exits blocked. 4 people have been charged.
Another detained suspect, a guard from a private security firm, will be charged shortly. Russia's investigative committee says a national day of mourning will be observed today.
Andrew Bond from BBC News has to support the Russian shopping center fire.
A fire on the 4th floor. This shopping center surrounded by firefighters searching for survivors, trying to reach upper floor windows, fighting the smoke billowing outside. The fire started here on Sunday. Dozens were evacuated, but it was clear dozens more were missing, many of them children.
The area of the fire is about 1,500 square meters. At this moment, 288 emergency officers are working on site, as well as 62 units of equipment and an airborne grouping are taking part in the search and rescue operation. We are taking all necessary measures to extinguish the fire. The shopping centre has a very complex construction. There is a lot of combustible materials.
People gathered to stand and stare as the fire unfolded. Witnesses said it trapped people on the upper floors and said some had jumped from windows to try to escape from the flames. An industrial city of more than 500,000, it is one of Russia's biggest coal-producing regions, more than 2,000 kilometers east of Moscow. Already there are reports the fire began near a cinema and children's entertainment center. President Putin has already sent his condolences to friends and family of the victims. Authorities say a criminal investigation will now begin to try to find out what caused the fire. Andrew Plant, BBC News.
After days of speculation, it has been confirmed that North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un, has visited China.
The visit, confirmed by China and North Korea, was Mr. Kim's first known foreign trip since taking office in 2011.
Mr. Kim held successful talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing, China's Xinhua news agency reported.
China is North Korea's main economic ally, and it was thought highly likely it would consult Beijing before planned summits with South Korea and the US.
Mr. Kim is due to meet South Korean President Moon Jae-in in April and US President Donald Trump in May.
The Beijing visit is considered a significant step in North Korea's preparation for the proposed talks.
Stay with us here on After 7 News, coming up.
Outrage over a controversial decision in the 2020 US Census to ask respondents whether or not they are US citizens for the first time since 1950.
In sport, England denied the second friendly victory by a late Italy penalty awarded by the video assistant referee at Wembley.
And later in the weather, a heat up in all parts of the country and expect clear and favorable conditions.
Undeniable chemistry between us.
Yeah, I agree. Just go home, Tom. He'll have to stop being mayor. He'll have to shut down his company. He'll have to live in a cabin in the desert filled with splinters.
It can't end like this. Let's move to phase 3.
I'm an illusionist, throwing cards and doing tricks, and I move my
2020 US Census will ask respondents whether or not they are citizens for the first time since 1950.
California and New York filed to sue the block to move, saying it will deter immigrants from participating.
Trump administration officials say the data will help the government allocate resources and enforce voter laws designed to prevent discrimination.
The census is mandated under the U.S. Constitution and takes place every 10 years, counting every resident.
Census data helps the US government calculate funding distribution and job districts for state and local elections.
Democratic states with large immigrant populations argue a citizenship question will produce other counts because fewer people will participate.
They fear losing congressional and state legislature seats along with federal funding.
President Clark, president of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights under Law, told Reuters news agency to question exposed xenophobic and anti-immigrant policy positions from the Trump administration.
Now let's head over to Talking Angela for the sports news. Angela?
Good evening, I'm Talking Angela with the sports news. England manager Gareth Southgate was unhappy with the video assistant referee decision that denied his side a win over Italy at Wembley. Jimmy Vardy put the hosts ahead, but referee Dennis Artigan consulted VAR and awarded Italy a late penalty which Lorenzo Insigne scored to make it 1-1. Southgate said that the ruling was not clear and obvious and was one you can debate all day. Added that he didn't think with incidents like that VAR will clear things up. The penalty came in the 87th minute when Burnley defender James Tarkowski, who was making his international debut, tangled with Federico Chiesa. Southgate told BBC Radio 5 Live that it looked like Tarkowski stepped on him, but it's during the running process and he is going down anyway. Tarkowski said it was never a penalty. He stood his foot, but he didn't take a lot of it. It was what it was, and he wasn't going to complain. He added that it had been a great experience this week. Only sports news for the day. Good night. Now let's head on live to Talking Ginger for the weather forecast. Ginger? Hello, I'm Talking Ginger with the weather. The high-pressure area is expected to intensify all around Aditya, with temperatures of around 34 degrees Celsius on average nationwide. Talking City gets an average of 32 degrees with sunny and clear skies. Over to the north, we get the 30 degrees average and partly cloudy conditions, while going westward gets the 36 degrees average with sunny weather. East City will have 38 degrees on average, plus mostly sunny skies, and heading south, we get the 35 degrees average and mostly sunny weather. That's all. Good night.
And that was Talking Ginger with the weather, and that's all for today's news. And be sure to check out our all new website via Google Sites. The link is in the video description down below. It's a really cool website I made.
I agree with you, Ben. Well, it's a really cool website. I agree.
Well, that's all for today. I am Talking Ben.
And I'm Talking Tom. You're watching Avid 7 News. Good night.
Democratic lawmakers are expected to prove 2 impeachment charges against the Republican president today, also tonight.
Australia endures the hottest day on record as the national average temperature reaches a high of nearly 41 degrees Celsius.
The Supreme Court of India says that it will take up positions against a new citizenship law next month as anger against it grows.
A court in Japan orders a TV reporter to pay $30,000 in damages for a journalist who accused him of rape.
And coming up in sport, the clock ticks down towards the 2022 World Cup as Qatar is preparing for a dress rehearsal before the Club World Cup as clubs and teams arrive in Doha.
And as Opposite News turns 3, we'll look back on some of the best moments from the past 3 years. Good evening and welcome to the Office of News at 6. US President Donald Trump is on course to become the 3rd US President in history to be impeached later by the House of Representatives.
Democratic lawmakers are expected to approve 2 impeachment charges, namely abuse of power and obstruction of Congress against the Republican president today.
Mr. Trump is scheduled to face a trial in the Senate next month, but that chamber is controlled by members of his party, and it is unlikely to vote that he should be removed from office.
The president has called the process an attempted coup and a witch hunt. On the eve of the vote, Mr. Trump argued he had been denied his rights from the beginning of this impeachment scam in a 6-page letter.
He has blocked top aides from testifying before lawmakers in the House and declined an invitation to appear himself.
On Tuesday, Democratic Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, announced the vote on both charges.
Mrs. Pelosi wrote to colleagues that impeachment is one of the most solemn powers granted to us by the Constitution and called it a quote-unquote very painful moment in our nation's history.
Members of the House will meet from 9 o'clock local time, or 1400 hours GMT, on Wednesday. Votes on both articles of impeachment are expected between 18:30 and 19:30 hours.
As the House prepares to vote, President Trump will fly to Michigan for a Merry Christmas rally along with Vice President Mike Pence.
With us now live from Washington is our political correspondent, Talking Paul. First of all, Paul, what exactly are the charges?
The first charge against Donald Trump is abuse of power. It accuses the president of trying to pressure Ukraine to dismiss his political rival, Democratic presidential contender Joe Biden. Mr. Trump and his conservative allies have alleged around evidence that while he was US Vice President, Joe Biden encouraged Ukraine to fire his top prosecutor in order to stop him investigating a Ukrainian gas company that employed his son, Hunter Biden, as a board member. Democrats say Mr. Trump tackled $400 million of US military aid and the prospect of a White House meeting for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky as bargaining chips to pro-US allies into announcing a corruption inquiry into the Bidens. The second charge is obstructing Congress. Mr. Trump is accused of failing to cooperate with the House impeachment investigation. The president has denied withholding US aid to benefit himself politically and maintains it was appropriate to ask Ukraine to look into alleged corruption. Now, how do people, Americans in particular, as well as political parties in the US, support impeachment of Mr. Trump? Are they divided? Do they have common ground? Well, Tom, the from 538 shows that 47.2% back impeachment, while 46.5% do not support it. Going to political parties now, we're talking a pretty strong 82.6% support for impeachment from the Democrats, while 43.6% of independents, that's less than half of them, have their support. And quite unsurprisingly, the Republicans, which is the party of Mr. Trump, do not back impeachment by a flat 90% and therefore appear to fall on the party lines.
Okay, Paul, thank you very much for joining us. That was Talking Paul, our political correspondent in Washington.
Heading to Australia now, and the contrast experience is hottest day on record, with the national average temperature reaching a high of 40.9 degrees Celsius.
The Bureau of Meteorology said extensive heat on Tuesday exceeded the previous record of 40.3 degrees set on the 7th January 2013.
taking the average of maximum temperatures across the country is the most accurate measure of the heat wave.
The record comes as the nation battles a severe drought and bushfire crisis. Forecasters had predicted the most intense heat would come later in the week, meaning the record could be broken again.
As hundreds of fires rage, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has been criticised for his response to the natural disasters and his government's climate policy.
Australia heated up this week as the masterpod air swept east across the continent, with meteorologists forecasting severe to extreme heatwave conditions.
Several individual heat records for towns and cities have already been shattered. On Tuesday, places across the nation's centre recorded temperatures above 45 degrees Celsius.
At the start of the week, Perth, the capital of Western Australia, recorded 3 days in a row over 40 degrees, a record for December.
The dominant climate driver behind the heat has been a positive Indian Ocean dipole, an event where sea surface temperatures are warmer in the western half of the ocean and cooler in the east.
The difference between the two temperatures is currently the strongest in 60 years. Warmer waters have than average rains in the western Indian Ocean region, leading to flooding and dry conditions across Southeast Asia and Australia.
India's Supreme Court has scheduled to take up a bunch of petitions against the new citizenship law next month as anger against its growth.
The court told the federal government prepare response to the petitions. The law has been stayed.
The decision comes even as Prime Minister Narendra Modi reacted with defiance to widespread protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act.
The law offers citizenship to non-Muslims from 3 nearby countries.
The Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party government says it will protect people from persecution, but critics say it's part of the Hindu nationalist agenda to marginalize India's more than 200 million Muslims.
Adding to the fears is the government announcement that it plans to carry out a widespread exercise to weed out infiltrators from neighboring countries.
Given that the exercise relies on extensive documentation to prove that ancestors live in India, many Muslim citizens fear that they could be made stateless.
However, Mr. Modi said the law will have no effect on citizens of India, including Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Jains, Christians and Buddhists.
The Prime Minister also told his supporters at a rally on Tuesday that the opposition was spreading lies and rumours, instigating violence and uses full force to create an atmosphere of illusion and falsehood.
Home Minister Amit Shah echoed the sentiment to media, saying both my government and I are firm like a rock that we will not push or go back to all these citizenship protests.
Stay with us here on Officer News. Still to come after this break.
A Japanese court orders TV reporter to pay $30,000 in damages to a journalist over accusations of rape.
Later in sport, as the 2022 World Cup news, Qatar prepares for a dress rehearsal in the shape of this year's Club World Cup as the football circus arrive in Doha.
Ovid 7 News marks its third year of broadcasting with the best scenes from the last 3 years.
And the weather tonight brings more rainfall everywhere, so don't forget your umbrellas. Welcome back to Ovid 7 News. The Japanese court has ordered a high-profile TV reporter to pay 3.3 million yen or $30,000 in damages to a journalist who accused him of rape.
She also alleged that Noriyuki Yamaguchi raped her in 2015 while she was unconscious.
Prosecutors said that there was not enough evidence for a criminal case, so Ms. Ito brought a civil case.
Ms. Ito has become a symbol of the Me Too movement in a country where people rarely avoid sexual assault.
30-year-old Ms. Ito said that she was so happy on the verdict. She also held a sign which read victory after the verdict was announced.
But in a news conference hours later, Mr. Yamaguchi said he planned to appeal and he again denied the rape allegations.
According to Ms. Ito, 53-year-old Mr. Yamaguchi, who was said to have close ties with Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, invited her to dinner to discuss a possible job opportunity in 2015.
She suspects she may have been drugged, saying that when she gained consciousness, she was in a hotel room and he was on top of her.
Ms. Ito was an intern at news agency Reuters when the alleged rape occurred.
Mr. Yamaguchi was then a Washington bureau chief for the Tokyo Broadcasting System, a major media firm in Japan.
Investigations were opened but then dropped by police, citing insufficient evidence.
Ms. Ito said police forced her to enact the alleged rape with a life-size doll while male officers looked on.
The 2017 government survey found that only 4% of rape victims reported the crime to the police.
Now it's time for the sport news around the world with Talking Angela. Angela?
Hello Dan, welcome to the sport news. Well, the top story right now is that just only 3 years away for the 2022 World Cup, Capitals are playing for a jersey rehearsal as English Premier League clubs Liverpool and Brazilian team Flamengo arrive in Doha for the 2019 Club World Cup. Shiny new air-conditioned patrons, the specially constructed fan park, a new state-of-the-art metro, and a charm offensive to road tourists who still have reservations as to the tiny oil-rich state's ability to host the sport's biggest competition in 3 years' time will all be on show. No small detail has been led the chance. Inside the fan park, there'll be music from the Cabin Beatles, as well as the Lightning Seeds, the UK band whose anthem, Football's Coming Home, has become part of English football folklore. Beer, normally restricted in hotels, will also be on sale at fans gather in rather comfortable temperatures of around 25 degrees Celsius during the daytime. Amina Al-Ali, the chairwoman of the country's Liverpool supporters club, Qatar Red, says visitors to the club state can expect a warm welcome. For Qatar, this is a test run as it prepares to handle thousands of fans from across the globe. It's also an opportunity to show the world that it is ready and able to cope with the demands placed upon it. It will hope the tournament is more impressive than its hosting of the recent World Athletics Championships, which was criticized for failing to attract enough spectators. In other news, darts player Alan Shark entered the history books Tuesday when she became the first woman to beat a man in a World Championship match. Shark battled back from 2 sets to 1 down to seal the victory over Ted Evett at the Professional Darts Corporation event at Alexandra Palace in London, sending the crowd wild. The BBC Men's World Championship features 96 players each year, and there are 2 spots for women. Hold on a second on this short in time. Anyways, Shark served the decision to allow mixed competition that women just need more opportunities to prove ourselves. She said that she didn't remember much about the match, but enjoyed every minute of it. The 25-year-old has become one of the top female players in the world and her star continues to rise. Shark became the 5th woman to compete in the World Championships, and the 14th pathway for qualification was created for women this year. She qualified by winning the UK and Ireland women's qualifying event in November. I'm so sorry, Angela, we'll have to leave you there right now because we have breaking news over in the US about Donald Trump, and he has become the 3rd US president in history to be impeached by the House of Representatives, meaning that a trial will be set up in the Senate that will decide whether he remains in office.
The House called for votes on the 2 charges. The first, abuse of power, stemming from Mr. Trump's alleged attempt to pressure Ukraine to announce investigations into his Democratic political rival, Joe Biden.
The second charge is the obstruction of Congress because the president allegedly refused to cooperate with the impeachment inquiry, withholding documentary evidence and banning his key aides from giving evidence.
We'll go back now to our political correspondent, Talking Paul, who is in Washington for more on this story. Paul, how were the votes?
Well, to then the vote for the first article of impeachment, abuse of power, was passed 230 votes to 197, and the second for obstruction of Congress, 229 votes to 198. Both votes fell along party lines, with nearly all Democrats voting for the charges and all Republicans against. Now, what did members of the House of Representatives say during the 10 hours of partisan debate? Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi over the debate and said that, quote, for centuries, Americans have fought and died to defend democracy for the people, but very sadly now our founded version of a republic is under threat from actions from the White House, unquote. And she also said that, quote, if we do not act now, if we derelict on our duty, it is tragic that the president's reckless actions make impeachment necessary. He gave us no choice, unquote. Democratic Representative Joe Kennedy, a proud nephew of President John F. Kennedy, used the speech to address his children directly, explaining his decision to vote for impeachment. Quote, dear Allie and James, this is a moment that we read about in your history books, unquote, the Massachusetts congressman said. He went on to accuse the president of, quote, using his power as a weapon against his own people, unquote. Joe Collins, the top Republican of the House Judiciary Committee, accused Democrats of conducting an unfair and illegitimate inquiry. He said that, quote, this is an impeachment based on presumption. This is a protested impeachment about what actually sells to the American people, unquote. Republican Barry Largeno compared the impeachment process to the fate of Jesus Christ. She said that coach during that sham trial, cautious pilot reported more lines to chasers that Democrats have opposed its presence in this protest, unquote. I'll also tell you about demonstrations that took place on the streets. Hundreds of people gathered in Times Square, New York on Tuesday night, and they were chanting, quote, "Tell me who's above the law, nobody's above the law," unquote.
Now, what about Donald Trump himself? Where was he during the impeachment and what was his say of the impeachment?
Well, as voting took place, President Trump was addressing a campaign rally. He told a chain crowd in Battle Creek, Michigan, that, quote, "While we're creating jobs and fighting for Michigan, the radical left in Congress is consumed with envy and hatred and rage. You see what's going on," unquote. During the House debate, Mr. Trump tweeted several times, calling the Democratic arguments atrocious lies by the radical left and an assault on the Republican Party. Now, what will happen after Mr. Trump is impeached by the House and the trial is set up in the Senate? Will they decide that he'll be acquitted? Most likely, Thomas, the Republican Party's majority in the Senate make it highly likely the president will remove from office when senators cast their votes. Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell last week said that Republican senators would act in total coordination with the president's team during the trial, outraging Democrats who pointed out that senators are obliged to act as impartial jurors. Ms. McConnell will be the one who decides the rules for the trial and which witnesses will testify. It's due to address his Saturdays on Thursday.
Thank you so much again, Paul. Our political correspondent talking more in
Now, we could have continued these sport news, but since we're now running out of time, we'll have to leave that for the time being.
Speaking of time, it's been 3 years since Open 7 News was launched back in 2016.
Since then, we've delivered these to you, always putting it first where it happens.
Let's take a look back at some of the best moments of what is now Open 7 News.
Good day and welcome to the very first edition of Tom and Ben News. Now here are the headlines. Good day and welcome to the first edition of Tom and Ben News. Now here are the news. Truck flowed into a Christmas market in Berlin on Monday, killing at least 9 people in what German authorities are treating as a possible terror attack. Breaking news here, after German television staff and workers are now going on strike.
Vladimir Putin sought to help Donald Trump win the presidential election. A female suspect has been arrested in connection with the death of Kim Jong-un's half-brother. Egypt's president has announced a 3-month state of emergency after attacks on 2 Coptic churches.
NATO is expelling 7 Russian diplomats in response to a nerve-agent attack in the UK. Japan's Emperor Naruhito has formally proclaimed his ascension to the throne in a lab assembly. This is Tom
And Ben, and good day. This is Tom and Ben News.
Good day and welcome to Tom News. Now here are the news. Oh, whoops, wrong line. Anyways, we're now with Talking Ginger. You didn't hear anything, Ginger. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely I did, Tom and Ben. Okay, it's been a wet and windy day today, and unfortunately things won't look promising tonight. Freaking Meteor has already issued a yellow weather warning for heavy rain in all parts of Atlanta, except for the north. Some clear spells will be experienced there, so expect some localized flooding, along with transport disruptions for not only tonight, but also for the days ahead. Temperatures will average at 8 degrees Celsius. The map shows how wet tonight will be, with Talking City receiving a heavy downpour and moderately breezy weather, with an average temperature of 8 degrees, and heading north with an average of 4 degrees, with some light wind showers and a moderate breeze. For the west, expect the worst of the night with strong winds and heavy rain and an average of 7 degrees. 9 degrees and light wind showers with moderate breeze is expected for the east, and the south can see 10 degrees average and strong winds with light rain showers. Moving over to tomorrow now, and we'll see that the rains have gotten weaker in almost every area but the southeast. The rain in Talking City reaches light wind showers with a gentle breeze and an average temperature of 8 degrees. The clear and now sunny intervals to the north will be more frequent, with a moderate breeze and an average of 8 degrees, while the situation in the west will improve quite drastically, with a heavy rain skipping way to light wind showers and a moderate breeze and an 8-degree average. We get similar weather in the east with a hotter average of 11 degrees, and down south expect some strong winds, light wind showers, and a 10-degree average. Into our 3-day outlook now, and for Talking City, it's light rain and a gentle breeze with 6 degrees on Friday, drizzle and a gentle breeze with 7 degrees for Saturday, and light clouds with a gentle breeze and 6 degrees on Sunday. Moving north, there's going to be a sky full of light clouds with a gentle breeze and 5 degrees on Friday. same weather for Saturday and the same weather again but with light winds on Sunday. Those in the west will have light clouds with an anytime breeze with 5 degrees for Friday, light clouds and light winds with 4 degrees on Saturday. On Sunday, the cloud cover will thicken with a gentle breeze and 6 degrees Celsius. Going east and heavy winds with a moderate breeze and 8 degrees on Friday, light wind showers and a moderate breeze with 9 degrees for Saturday, and light clouds with a moderate breeze and 8 degrees on Sunday will be expected. Finally for the south, there's light wind showers and a fresh breeze with 9 degrees for Friday, gusty winds with light wind showers with 8 degrees on Saturday, and during the Sunday, there's strong winds with stormy intervals and an average of 9 degrees. That's all for today's weather. Good night.
Thank you very much, Talking Ginger. Now the turn to our top stories for tonight.
Donald Trump has been impeached by the U.S. House of Representatives. The Democratic-controlled chamber has passed 2 charges: abuse of power, obstruction of Congress, and made Mr. Trump the 3rd U.S. president in history to be impeached.
Australia has experienced the hottest state record. The average temperature nationwide has reached a high of nearly 41 degrees Celsius, and forecasters say that more intense heat will come later this week.
The Supreme Court of India says that it will hear a court of petition against the new citizenship law next month, as opposition against it continues to grow.
And the Japanese court has ordered the TV reporter to pay 3.3 million yen or $30,000 in damages to Shiori Ito, a journalist who accusations were raised back in 2013.
Now for more news and content, go to our website. That's at sites.google.com/view/Albert7News. The next bulletin on Albert7 TV is at 10 o'clock. I'm Talking Tom.
And I'm Talking Ben from the team here on the Albert 7 News at 6. We wish you a very good night. Bye-bye. Yet another Friday the 13th today.
People German and want a freedom married by Obama.
Nintendo reveals Switch price and date.
And expect sunny weather unless you're on the south. Tom the news starts now. Good evening, and today is the Friday the 13th of January 2017. Welcome to Tom the News in the Friday the 13th.
Watch out for bad luck, so here's the news.
Today's top story, yet another Friday the 13th, today.
Today is a Friday the 13th, considered by many in the West as a day of bad luck.
Superstition with a series of millions is happening as of now as we speak. Tricyclophobia or the fear of the number 13 is also currently on the full swing.
Events that are related to the Lucky 13 include Apollo 13, which suffered an oxygen tank explosion on April 13, 1970, and the sinking of the Costa Concordia on January 13, 2012, exactly 5 years until now.
We do not encounter any bad times today, but still, be careful, folks.
I think I heard that. Watch out, Tom!
Sorry about that. We need to try again. After we need to fix the screen.
We apologize for the severe technical problems due to the bombing in the main generators of Outlook Television Broadcasting Center. We'll have an update on the accident, so please stay tuned. Meanwhile, here's some more news. Careful Joe Biden wanted freedom bell by Obama.
President Barack Obama has awarded an emotional and surprised Joe Biden the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest U.S. civilian honor.
Mr. Obama praised his vice president for his faith in your fellow Americans, for your love of country, and your lifetime of service.
The award comes as both men prepare to leave office when Donald Trump is inaugurated on 20th January.
Mr. Biden has said he plans to stay active in Democratic Party politics.
A visibly emotional Joe Biden stood by as Mr. Obama heaped praise on what he called the best possible choice, not just for me, but for the American people.
We'll be back after this short break. Stay tuned.
Introducing the new Xbox One S. The only console with 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, 4K video streaming, and high dynamic range gaming. The new Xbox One S. Smaller, sleeker, sharper. The ultimate games and 4K entertainment system.
Xbox One S, starting at $299.
Are you tired of the sink and cleaning kitchen appliances? Yes. Well, too bad. This isn't you at all. Are you tired of everything you clean? Yes. Well, no one cares. Because what? I'm a new sink. New. This week you can clean anything.
Welcome back to Twan Ben News. Now, an update on the Avatar Television Broadcasting Center bombings.
The explosion has triggered a major power failure in the broadcasting center, where the ports of a fire located in the backup generator.
Due to this, we are currently operating in low power, so please bear with us.
So back to the news. Nintendo reveals Switch price and date.
Nintendo has announced it will release its long-awaited new console, the Nintendo Switch, on 3rd March.
It will cost $299.99 in the US, £279.99 in the UK, and 29,980 yen, or $260 in Japan, more than most analysts had been expecting.
The stakes are high for the Japanese firm after its most recent console, the Wii U, failed to replicate the success of the original Wii.
Nintendo searched depth as details of the launch trickled out. Nintendo revealed in October last year that the Games Machine will be a handheld device that doubles as a home console.
Initially, there was some negative reaction online to the pricing of the console's accessories. Some analysts believe that the device could be Nintendo's last shot at selling a home console after the Wii U proved a flop.
Now, the weather forecast with Ginger. Good evening and apologies for the power failure. Here's the weather. Australia will get more relief from the cold weather we experienced last month in the coming days, with Tardin City experiencing 40 degrees Celsius in more dry conditions. Donut City will have partly sunny weather and 8 degrees. So far, so good. West City with 12 degrees Celsius with cloudy skies is okay. East City will get worse, being buffeted by scattered showers and 10 degrees Celsius. In Charlotte City, it clearly does have the bad luck of thunderstorms and 11 degrees. That is all for the weather. And before you go to the new outfit7tv.com/news website for the latest news. So, this is the end of Tom Ben News. This is Tom.
And Ben, thanks for watching, goodbye, and stay safe.
Okay.
Round 6. The Emperor of Japan has formally proclaimed his ascension to the throne in an elaborate ceremony.
Emperor Naruhito formally proclaims his ascendancy to the throne in a centuries-old ceremony attended by dignitaries the world over, pledging to fulfill his duty as a symbol of the state. Also tonight.
Canadian Prime Minister Joseph Trudeau's Liberal Party remains in power after a closely fought election, but are speaking to a minority government.
Thailand's King Vajiralongkorn has stripped his newly named royal consort of the titles and military ranks with his loyalty and misbehavior, according to the official statement.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson launches his final push to get the UK to leave the EU by month's end, and will ask support from MPs.
And coming up in sport, the Serbia football team receives punishments from the UEFA amid the racist misconduct of its supporters.
Welcome for the first time in over a year to Office
News.
new look.
Join Ben News is now the officer of the news at 6, but will stay here and continue to provide you with the news as it happens.
Now into our top story, where Japan's Emperor Naruhito has formally proclaimed his ascension to the throne in an elaborate ceremony.
The 59-year-old Naruhito became emperor and his wife Masako became empress on 1st May in a brief ceremony after the abdication of his father, the then Emperor Akihito.
But after a series of traditional rituals inside the Imperial Palace in Tokyo, his ascension has now been formalized.
The Sakui no Rei, or the ceremony of accession, saw Emperor Naruhito inside a 6.5-meter high Takamikuro throne.
He read out a formal proclamation dressed in a yellow-orange robe worn only by emperors on special occasions.
Here's the proclamation with a translation provided by writers.
先に日本国憲法及び皇室典範特例法の定めるところにより皇位を継承いたしました。ここに即位礼正殿の儀を行い即位を内外に宣明いたします。
天皇陛下万歳万歳万歳
His wife, Empress Masako, reportedly clothed in 12 layers of robes, was seen in a separate smaller throne.
Prime Minister Shinzo Abe delivered the congratulatory address, followed by shouts of Banzai, translated as Long Live the Emperor.
The ceremony, conducted largely in silence, was held in the presence of an ancient sword and jewel, sacred treasures that act as symbols of imperial power.
Hundreds of foreign dignitaries, including the UK's Prince Charles, were in attendance.
The Emperor will later host a tea party for foreign royalty, while Mr. Abe will host a banquet in the evening.
The ceremony comes as Japan reels with the effects of Typhoon Hagibis, which left almost 80 people dead. A celebration parade was postponed out of respect for the victims and their families.
Into other news now, Joseph Trudeau's Liberal Party has retained power in a narrow Canadian election win, but he will now be Prime Minister of a minority government.
The Liberals are projected to win 156 seats, 14 short of a majority, and will find it harder to pass legislation in Mr. Trudeau's second term.
The opposition Conservatives are expected to win the popular vote, but have not translated that into seats.
They are projected to take 122 seats, up for the 95 they held before.
Although marginalized results saw a sharp decline in seats, for the country's left-leaning New Democratic Party, or the NDP, his leader Jagmeet Singh could become the kingmaker.
The NDP is projected to take 24 seats in the 338-seat parliament.
Quebec's separatist party, the Bloc Québécois, which competes only in that province, fared much better. It is expected to take 32 seats compared to the 10 it won in 2015.
Turnout is currently listed at 65%.
The federal election was seen as a referendum to Mr. Trudeau, who had a bumpy first term tainted by scandal.
Mr. Trudeau told change supporters in Montreal that voters had quote-unquote rejected division and negativity, and they had rejected cost and austerity and voted in favor of a progressive agenda and strong action on climate change.
His beacon grip and power is being seen as a big of his record, but the result is bitterly disappointing for Conservative leader Andrew Scheer.
Ireland's King Vajiralongkorn has stripped his royal consort of its rank and titles for alleged misbehavior and disloyalty against the monarch.
An official announcement said Sumit Wong Vajirapaksa had been ambitious and tried to elevate herself to the same state as the Queen.
It also said that the royal consort's behaviors were considered disrespectful.
She was appointed in July, just 2 months after the king made Queen Sis Ida his fourth wife.
Nat, who was a major general and also trained pilot, nurse and bodyguard, was the first person to be awarded the title of Royal Noble Consort in the 8th century.
Queen Sis Ida, a 41-year-old former flight attendant and deputy head of his bodyguard unit, is King Vajra Longkorn's long-term partner and has been seen at him in public for many years.
The announcement that Nat had been stripped of her titles was published in the Royal Gazette on Monday. It marked a sort of fall-from gate for the royal consort, who for several years was seen often at the side of King Vajra Longkorn.
Even after the king's marriage to Queen Sithita, Sini and Nat was a regular guest at royal events. Stay with us here on RP7 News, coming up after this break.
Boris Johnson launches his last bid for his Brexit deal to pass through and wants the support of MPs.
Late in sports, the UEFA imposes punishment on the Serbia football team after the racist behaviour of its fans. And weather tonight calls for clear skies and easy breeze if you're on the south.
Due to an industrial dispute between Outfit 7 Media and the Outfit and Communications Commission in regards to advertising, all advertising on Outfit 7 television has ceased. Outfit 7 Media hopes that the dispute will come to an early end in the interests of advertisers and viewers.
Welcome back to RP7 News. Heading into the UK now, and Boris Johnson will urge MPs about his Brexit deal later, as he launches a final bid to get the UK to leave the EU by the end of the month.
MPs are to vote on whether to back the Prime Minister's withdrawal agreement bill, which was published Monday.
If they back his deal, they will then be asked to approve an intensive 3-day timetable in which to consider the legislation.
Opposition MPs have said this will not be enough time to scrutinise the bill.
Ministers have insisted they are confident they have the numbers to get the withdrawal agreement bill approved, despite losing a crunch comments vote on Saturday aimed at ruling out a no-deal Brexit.
MPs believe Prime Ministers to be ready to back the Prime Minister include pro-leave Labour rebels and former Tory MPs now sitting as independents who would rather leave with Mr Johnson's deal than no deal at all.
If MPs back the bill, they will then vote on the government's so-called programme motion, which set out the timetable for the legislation's passage to the Commons. And we'll have to leave you there with some breaking news about the Brexit deal, and MPs have approved the Prime Minister's withdrawal agreement bill on its first hurdle to the House of Commons, for the second reading by 329 votes to 299.
However, we have sources saying just now that a few minutes after that, they have rejected, by a majority of 14, a second vote on the fast-track timetable for the bill, and that has prompted Prime Minister Boris Johnson to pause his legislation.
We'll bring in more details on this story as it happens.
Now let's head over to Talking Angela for sport news around the world. Angela?
Hello there, and welcome to the sport news. Well, the top story right now is that Serbia's national football team has been ordered to play its next home game behind closed doors after UEFA decided to punish the racist behaviour of the supporters. European football's governing body have been investigating what's happened in Belgrade station Raja Mitic during Serbia's 4-2 defeat by Portugal in September and announced its decision Monday. The UEFA ruled that Serbia must play 2 of its next home games without supporters, with the second game suspended for a 1-year probationary period. The Serbian FA will also have to display #EagleGame banners around its stadium during its next home game, a crucial group B qualifying match against Luxembourg on the 14th November. Serbia currently has 10 points, one behind second place Portugal, with Ukraine topping the group with 19 points. Serbia's Football Association was also fined $37,000 or €33,250 for noble further charges, including illicit chants and field UEFA's decision comes days after England's Euro 2020 qualifier against Bulgaria was halted twice due to racist abuse aimed at 20 English players. In other news, the manager of an English football team that walked off the pitch following allegations of racist abuse from supporters says those fans found guilty sweep that for life. 2 men have been arrested by police after investigations into racist comments made during an English FA Cup match between Harringay FC and Liverpool on Saturday. The men, aged 23 and 26, were arrested on suspicion on racially aggravated common assault at a building custody at a police station in Somerset. Metropolitan police officers are leading the investigation with the assistance of Avon and Somerset police. Real Madrid lost its first league game of the season as coach Zinedine Zidane's reboot of the club continues to function. Despite missing number of star players, he is started as a heavy favourite during his Saturdays match against newly promoted Mallorca. Bot was given a good rating as league winners held on for a shock 1-0 win. Marco Jr. scored the game's only goal as Real Madrid was forced to play the closing stages with 10 men after Alvaro Oriozola was sent off for 2 Bucco offences. New signing Eden Hazard missed the match after the birth of his child, and the likes of Luka Modric and Gareth Bale were absent due injury. Despite this being Real's first domestic loss, Zinedine's team has failed to press this season and is yet to win a game in this year's UEFA Champions League group stages. Charmaine Faligani, 4-time Olympian and winner of the 2017 New York City Marathon, has announced retirement after 15 years at age 38. Flanagan is best known for becoming the first American woman to win the New York City Marathon in 40 years when she won in 2017. She also won bronze in the 2008 Olympics in Beijing in the 10,000 meters, which 9 years later was upgraded to silver because the second place finisher tested positive for doping. Flanagan competed in the Olympics in 2004, 2008, 2012 and 2016. Her final race was the New York City Marathon in 2018, in which she finished third. She underwent knee surgery in April. Andy Murray, the 401 ranked player, won the European Open Sunday to claim his first ATP singles title in more than 2 years. Murray beat Stan Wawrinka 3-6, 6-4, 6-4 in Antwerp, Belgium. The 32-year-old had last won a tournament in March 2017 at the Dubai Tennis Championships. The three-time Grand Slam champion, once considered part of tennis's Big Four, alongside Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic, returns to the professional circuit in June, initially only competing in doubles. He had his second procedure in his hip in January this year, after admitting at a tearful news conference after his Australian Open that he had been playing in considerable pain for some time and was even considering retirement. And that's all the sport news for today. Good night. Back to you, Tom and Ben. Now let's take a look at what's in store for the weather tonight with Talking Ginger. Welcome back. Oh, hello again, welcome back indeed. Anyways, the weather for tonight calls for clear skies and brisk winds as clouds scatter all over the figure. 10 degrees is what it's temperature, so it's a reasonably good night for anyone heading outside tonight. In Talking City, it's looking like a cloudy picture with 9 degrees for the average temperature. Outside the city, average temperatures are the same for north and figure, and the same clouds that you will see. Going to the west now, and things are clear with some clouds remaining, and with 10 degrees of average temperature. Clear skies and 11 degrees is what expected to east, and the south, 10 degrees average, and clear skies will be experienced. For tomorrow, Talking City will be mostly full of sunshine, plus a 12 degree average, and the north will have partly cloudy skies and a 12 degree average as well. West Africa will have delightfully sunny weather coupled with 30 degrees average temperature. Going eastward, you may get mostly sunny skies with 12 degrees average temperature, and the south will have a 20 degree average with mostly sunny weather. Now, taking a look at the weather for the next 3 days, see Talking City with sunny conditions and a 30 degree average on Thursday, mostly sunny with 30 degrees on Friday, and cloudy with 9 degrees on Saturday. The north will have sun and a 12 degree average on Thursday, clouds and 12 degrees on Friday, and clouds again with 8 degrees on Saturday. The west will see mostly sunny weather and 40 degrees average on Thursday, partly sunny skies and 11 degrees on Friday, and clouds and 7 degrees on Saturday. East Africa will get partly sunny conditions with a 40 degree average on Thursday, partly sunny with 50 degrees on Friday, and cloudy with 40 degrees on Saturday. And the south will have mostly sunny weather and a 12 degree average on Thursday, partly sunny with 40 degrees on Friday, and partly sunny with 11 degrees on Saturday. That's all for today's weather. Good night.
Thanks so much, Talking Ginger. Now let's get back to our top stories.
Emperor Nahito of Japan has always claimed his ascendancy to the throne in 1870 and has raised the Hills duty as a symbol of the state.
Johnson introduced the Labour Party raised in power after now affecting the Canadian election, but is now Prime Minister of the minority government.
An official statement states that Thailand's King Vajiralongkorn has stripped his newly named royal consort of her titles for disloyalty and misbehaviour.
And Boris Johnson's plans for a Brexit deal have been rejected by Parliament once more, and the Prime Minister calls for an election if the EU offers the longest delay until January.
And for more news and content, go to the website at sites.google.com/view/Alfred7 News. The next bulletin on Alfred7 TV is at 10 o'clock. I'm Talking Tom.
And I'm Talking Ben. For all of us here on the Alfred7 News at 6, we wish you a very good night.